What if I told you that everything you've been taught about aging is only half the truth? What if the silence you feel in your later years isn't loneliness, but liberation? We live our lives like rivers flowing outward, giving endlessly, nourishing others. But one day, that river slows. The world gets quieter. You find yourself sitting in the same chair, staring at the same wall, and asking the question no one else seems to answer. After all I've given, what's left for me? If this question echoes in your heart, this message is for you. Because aging is not the end of your story, it's the unveiling of your essence. And in this journey, Buddhism teaches us something Western thinking often forgets: the greatest power in life is not found in being heard, admired, or needed, but in finally hearing yourself. So today, we walk together through the quiet truths no one dares to speak. You will not be told to chase youth or cling to relevance. You will be invited gently, honestly, to return home to yourself. To stop begging for what you already possess. To choose peace. To choose presence. To choose you. Part 1, The Unseen Sacrifice. In the early chapters of life, we are conditioned to be everything for everyone. We give. We hold. We protect. We sacrifice in the name of love our time, energy, health, and sometimes, our dreams. But there's a hidden truth buried beneath our devotion: while we were giving to others, we often forgot to keep anything for ourselves. And now, decades later, you might sit in a quiet house, once filled with life, and wonder, was any of it noticed? You might find your fingers lingering over photographs. Birthdays you planned. Late nights you endured. All those moments you gave with an open heart now only flickers in memory. The people you nurtured have moved on, grown up, and disappeared into their busyness. Not out of cruelty. Just, life. And you sit there, perhaps for the first time, and ask, where did I go in all of this? Buddhism doesn't tell us to resent those we love. It teaches us to wake up from the illusion that giving guarantees a return. The moment we expect others to mirror our sacrifices, we begin to suffer. Because life doesn't always echo our intentions. And so, we must pause. And realize, you were never meant to disappear in the service of others. Your light was not meant to burn only for those around you. Your life is not just a gift to be given away. It is a sacred flame to be honored, protected, and seen. This is the first invitation, not to stop loving others, but to stop abandoning yourself in the process. It's time to return to the parts of you that were left behind. Part 2, The Illusion of Reciprocity. Imagine pouring a lifetime of warmth into people, believing that love, when given sincerely, will always come back. But reality is quieter. Colder. Sometimes, that love doesn't return. Not out of malice, but out of distraction. Out of time. Out of people simply living their lives. You cooked dinners with care. You answered midnight phone calls. You forgave without being asked. You held space for others through storms you barely survived yourself. And yet when you needed someone, the room was empty. The silence was loud. And it hurts. Deeply. But here is the liberating truth: love is not a contract. It is a gift. And once given, it is no longer yours to control. Buddhism calls this anicca impermanence. Nothing, not even the deepest relationships, is guaranteed to remain the same. The more we cling, the more we ache. What if, instead of measuring love by what came back, you measured it by how deeply it changed you? You grew wiser. Softer. Stronger. Even in the absence of recognition. Love transforms the giver first. And that transformation? That was never a loss. It was a sacred unfolding. So instead of grasping for what was, loosen your grip. What if the purpose of your love was not to be returned, but to awaken you? Part 3, Reclaiming Your Energy. Your energy is sacred. But over the years, you've scattered it into relationships, obligations, and responsibilities. Pieces of yourself are left everywhere. You became the glue, the caretaker, the rescuer, the steady one. Always pouring, always holding, rarely receiving. And now, you feel it in your bones. The exhaustion, the quiet resentment, the dull ache of never having asked, "What do I need?" But here's the grace, it's not too late. Now is the time to gather those pieces back. Not to wall yourself off. Not to retreat in bitterness. But to restore your inner sanctuary. Start small. Sit with your breath. Touch the ground with your bare feet. Eat a meal with full presence. Pick up a forgotten passion. Not because it's useful to others, but because it nourishes you. This is not selfishness, it is self-honoring. As one Buddhist proverb says, you carry so much, because you were never taught to put it down. Now is your time to put it down. Reclaim your mornings. Reclaim your quiet. Reclaim the part of you that waits patiently behind every yes you ever said when you meant no. You owe it to yourself, not just to survive, but to feel alive again. Part 4, The Power of Silence. Silence, so often misunderstood as weakness, is, in truth, a profound expression of strength. In our youth, we spoke to be heard. We try to justify, explain, argue, and persuade. We believe words are our greatest weapon. But as we age, something remarkable happens, we begin to realize that silence, too, can speak. And sometimes, it speaks louder than noise ever could. In Buddhist teaching, right speech isn't just about what we say, it's about when not to speak. Wisdom isn't always in the eloquence of our words, but in our ability to pause, to listen, to witness without needing to respond. How many arguments could have been avoided? How many relationships could have been softened, had we simply allowed a moment of silence to settle before speaking? Silence, in its true form, is not absence. It is present. It is choosing peace over proving a point. It is holding your ground, not with resistance, but with calm. And in that silence, you reclaim your power. Because not every opinion deserves your reply. Not every attack deserves your defense. You owe no one the energy of your peace. Let others talk. Let them fill the space. You be the stillness. Part 5, Observing without intervening. There's a deep urge within many of us to help. To fix. To step in when we see someone we love headed for pain. We want to shield them, protect them, stop the heartbreak before it arrives. But here's what age and spiritual practice reveal: pain is a teacher. One of the greatest. No one truly grows by being rescued from every mistake. Growth comes from stumbling, from getting back up, from facing the consequences of our own choices. As much as it hurts to watch someone suffer, interfering too soon often steals their moment of realization. Buddha himself refused to settle disputes he knew people had to navigate on their own. Not out of apathy but out of trust. Trust in life's process. Trust in people's capacity to awaken when the time is right. When you step back, it's not abandonment, it's sacred respect. It's saying, I believe in your ability to find your way. So instead of rushing to control or correct, practice compassionate observation. Offer presence, not persuasion. Offer love, not rescue. Some lessons, no matter how painful, are necessary. And some wisdom can only be born in silence. Part 6, Letting Go of Approval. We spend so much of our lives trying to be enough for others. Enough for our parents. Enough for our partners. Enough for society. We shape our lives around being liked, accepted, and validated. But one day, you wake up, and you're tired. Not just physically, but soul deep tired. Tired of trying to be good enough for people who never learned how to see you. And in that exhaustion, you discover something holy. Approval is a prison. A soft, velvet-lined one but a prison nonetheless. Buddhism teaches that the root of suffering is attachment. And few things create more suffering than being attached to what others think. What if you stopped asking for permission to be at peace? What if you stopped living your life through someone else's lens? You are not here to audition for worthiness. You were born worthy. You were born enough. The more you chase validation, the more you abandon your true self. Imagine standing alone in a quiet room, with no one else watching, just you and your soul. Who are you when no one is judging? That's the real you. And that's the only approval you ever needed. When you let go of the need for approval, you free yourself from a lifetime of performing. And in that freedom, you finally begin to live. Part 7, The Art of Peaceful Presence. This chapter of your life is not about fixing anyone. It's about presence. When you sit with tea in the morning, without checking the clock, be present. When you listen to the wind without rushing to change the world, presence. When you smile at your reflection without comparing it to your past present. This isn't a withdrawal from life. It is a return to what life was always meant to be. Every breath becomes a blessing. Every moment becomes your teacher. Part 8, Redefining Your Legacy. You may think your legacy is what you leave behind. The children you raised. The work you did. But there's a deeper legacy. One that breathes quietly. It's the peace you cultivated in your heart. The way you touched others with your presence. The calm you brought into chaos, not by shouting, but by being. People won't remember all your achievements. They'll remember how they felt in your presence. And the most powerful presence is the one rooted in peace. Part 9, The Final Return. Everything you've been seeking, love, peace, joy, it was never out there. It was always inside. Old age doesn't strip you of power. It strips away distractions. And in that clearing, your real life begins. So stop chasing. Stop proving. Stop apologizing. This is your time. To rest without guilt. To walk without explanation. To laugh for no reason. To cry when your heart asks to. You are not here to be useful. You are here to be. And that is enough. Conclusion, choose yourself, without shame. The world will always demand more. More attention. More effort. More of you. But what if you simply said, no more? Not out of defiance, but out of wisdom. Out of love for yourself. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are exactly where you are meant to be. So take this moment, not to shrink, but to expand. To step into the fullness of who you already are. With grace. With strength. With presence. Because this life still belongs to you. And you finally belongs to you. Thank you for being here.